Breaking Brown family? It's Yvette Carnell. What's going on? I apologize. I was running a little late tonight. Somehow my USB drive with all the photos got corrupted. So I was trying to get that back together, but I'm sorry, and I'm here now. That got me a little bit late. Irony, you see, is still trying to set up stuff and get stuff situated. So we're here to have the conversation that we have every Monday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's what we're here for. And, as always, please get your libations. I promised you all last week that we would have a conversation about Issa Rae, that I will have some additional things to say. I know some of you was like, don't do it, she ain't worth it. But you don't realize it. It is, though. But it is. So, I'm going to rip through it. I'm going to rip through that, and I'm going to rip through something else, because I'm going to do the Kamala Harris stuff. And then, after we do all that, then Army's going to chime in. Before we do that, like we always do, let's just get in here, and I want to tell everybody, go to donate. You can go to donatebrown.com. You can go to breakingbrown.com to donate. You can go to you can also, I want everybody, if you can, please go to subscribetobrown.com. Subscribetobrown.com and subscribe to our channel. That would be absolutely great for what we're trying to do, because a lot of times when I'm not around, I tell you I'm not around that's what I do. I tell you I'm not around. I say I'm not going to be in Monday or Wednesday or whatever. Army will be here, or we'll be here, we'll be doing this. That's how I keep everybody updated. Also, if you want to get subscribed to the newsletter, please go to breakingbrown.com. It's $2 a month, but I send you stuff that I think you might like in the newsletter, and that's why I do it. So I want everybody to also check that out. Like I said, I put it at a price point that we can all afford. It's 50 cents for each one, so let's take care of that. And if you don't see me here at the right time and you haven't gotten a message from me, I'm late. That means I ran late. Don't be like, well, I'm gonna go away because Yvette ain't here. No. That means I ran late, because I see fewer people here tonight, because they're like, well, I guess she ain't coming. No, I'm coming. I was just running late. So let's take care of that. Also, if you're in a group, please put this in a group. If you share this with your groups, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Also hit that notifications button so you'll get notified, when I go live. So you don't have to check back. You just get a buzz. You don't have to check back and see, oh, Yvette's not here or whatever, she ain't coming. Your phone will just buzz and you'll know what's up. Also, and this is probably the last thing I'm gonna say before I get into what I have to say. Please, in addition to everything that we're doing, some of you get the newsletter, but what I notice is that not everyone that gets the newsletter is actually is actually looking at the newsletter. So one of the things I think is that it's going to some spam folders, it's going to some other folders. So what I want you to do, if you get the newsletter every Sunday, please go and add editor@breakingbrown.com, which is the address that the newsletter comes from. Add that to your contact list so it can go directly into your inbox. So just add that to your contact list for me. I'd appreciate it. Now that we got that out of the way and we already running behind, I'm about to get into it. And I'm going to try to go straight for a while. Like I said, I didn't get all the images like I need to get them. But I'm going to go straight into it. And hopefully everybody can keep up.
Including me.
Yes. So I'm going to go straight into it. Everybody has to keep up because there were mistakes made. That's all I will say. Mistakes were made. I'm not a technical person. I was moving something from a Mac to a PC and stuff got confused. And I'm not going to take responsibility for any of it. Okay? Now, to the thing at hand, I want to discuss what I told y'all I was going to discuss. I'm a woman of my word. I'm going to discuss Issa Rae for a little while, and I'm going to tell you why I find her damaging. There was this whole thing she did, in case some of y'all caught it, about it was weird in terms of, and let's just, like, this is, like, I want you all to understand this is serious as a heart attack. I know sometimes I come off and I try to have fun because everything ain't supposed to be serious. But I'm telling I try to just add some levity to it. But this is serious as a heart attack to me, this conversation I'm about to have. So what I want to tell you is that she did this whole thing about, we as, giving reparations. In one of her episodes, if you watch Insecure, if you get HBO Go, I just got HBO Go and watched. Somebody loaned it to me. I'm not splurging for anything like that. So it was this whole thing about reparations as one woman talking about, well, I don't give white people as much because I file taxes. When I file taxes, I just make sure white people don't get as much. That's how I give reparations. And the first thing that comes to mind for me when I talk about this is the diminishment of what it means to be a descendant of a slave and to have that debt owed. You don't get it back that way. And I don't even care if you're doing it to provide some kind of levity or some kind of comedy. This is not comedy. This is not what this is. And that's why, you don't see a lot of that about the Holocaust. But let me just go a step further. When I look back at what I've said about Issa Rae in the past, one of the main criticisms that I've gotten is from people who are saying, well, it's just art. Or, well, Yvette, that's just her experience. Who are you to say that she's not allowed to have the experience that she has? And what I'm telling you is that it's not that she's not allowed to have her experience. It's that she's claiming her experience as our experience. And she's the lens through which people who watch this HBO show and the executives understand blackness. And the people at HBO get to say, guess what? We have diversity here because we have Issa Rae here. We have other brown faces. And what I'm saying is that I'm not interested in brown faces. I'm interested in faces and people who can project onto that screen the African American experience. And you say, well, Yvette, why should she have to talk about poor black people? Because that's what's in LA. Most of the people in LA are not rich people. Then you have HBO paying her to basically say this. Let me see HBO do this about Jerusalem or Israel. It's not going to happen. The diminishment of who we are. And for her to claim that it's our experience. Now let me, go to that LA clip. I want you to look at the data. I want you to, because most of you know what I try to depend on, what I try to rest on, what I try to deal with, what I try to have a conversation about is the data. You looking at what you about to look at right here. What you're about to see right here is the middle black family in LA is worth $200 liquid. She up in here having this conversation about what reparations is, something that she doesn't really even, and I'm not saying she doesn't understand it because I'm saying, oh, here go Yvette again being anti-immigrant. No, I can see from the writing on this show that she has no idea what she's talking about. I mean, it's clear to me, and I don't understand how it's not clear to other people that she doesn't know what she's talking about. And I'm gonna take it a step further. This is the data on black money in LA. While she's running around talking about insecure and all this stuff, this is how real black people live. But because we have Issa Rae, we can't talk about real black people. We have to have this weird woman who wants to talk to us about how she's insecure and about this little weird stuff that goes on in her life. She's not projecting the African American experience. And it's not anything against her. I got Army right over here. It's not anything, but he's over here with me. That's the difference. She's not projecting that. She is leaning on, this is what you see a lot of times. She's leaning on, okay, she's African American Senegalese and she grew up in this household of professionals. That's who she is, and that's what she's leaning on. That's what she draws from. At a certain point, as African American people, we have to understand that not us. Everybody.
She's not us.
Not us. Not everybody is. You have to make a decision. If you have two parents, and one's from here and one's from there, you have to make a decision. Where are you grounded? Now you know what Barack Obama did. You saw that book, Rising Star. He decided for his political career that he was going to be grounded in African Americanness, and that's why he decided to marry Michelle Obama and leave all the other white women he's ever dated in his life, and convince us that he wanted a sister and he listened to Lil Wayne. That's how you connect with us, and that's how you win votes. And at a certain point, what I'm asking is, when are we going to say, listen, I need to see myself and people who connect with me. I need to see people who are down for the struggle. I need to see those people on this TV screen. I don't need to see somebody who's kind of taking jabs at reparations through tax returns because you don't even know what it is. I don't want to see that. And then put up clip number 3, Army. Here's another way that you get a clear understanding that Issa Rae doesn't understand African Americans or doesn't understand the African American plight. She doesn't understand systemic racism. Maybe she's never had to understand it. I don't know. Not my problem. I'm not here to be your teacher. I treat you just like white people. I'm not here to be your teacher. If you want to learn, there are more than enough books that have been written about this. But she's going to say Hollywood will be more diverse because the racist white people are going to die off.
They don't have kids? Apparently not. They don't have cousins, nephews.
And apparently, it's not systemic. Because this still boils it down to being an individual issue. Listen, what we are dealing with, African Americans and descendants of slaves, we talk about this all the time on this show. From redlining, from Reconstruction to white mobs, to the KKK, people taking our land. That is not resolved with a few executives dying. No. But because you've lived a white life, you don't know that. Because of what you've lived in LA and what you've been accustomed to, you don't know that. And so part of the problem with African Americans is that we got to stop being so desperate. We see people and you don't relate. But you want her. You so desperately want these, she's exotic, she's this, and you want these people to be you, but they ain't you. I'm not saying Issa Rae can't be Issa Rae. She needs to go and do that, though, without trafficking off blackness. Don't call it her web series on YouTube. It should have never been called an awkward black girl. It should have just been called an awkward bougie girl or something, because it wasn't even about the black life that most people live there.
I can take it even more darker. Let's be honest. If you look at life and death rates and expectancies, like of poor black LA versus wealthier Hollywood executives, like those old executives are gonna outlive us.
Yeah.
Like, you think baby boomers are gonna live to like 95?
We can't even get our babies to live. That was a great article I put up. That was a great clip I put up here a few weeks ago from The Nation about how we can't even, our babies die sooner. Like, they have third world rates of death. And we just talking about this weird little black girl who's awkward. Yeah, you awkward because you awkward. It ain't nothing nobody can do about that. Ain't nobody, like, you just awkward. Ain't nothing, you have a whole show about just being a weird person. I mean, it's just, she's not grounded in us. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's something wrong with being elevated as us if you're not grounded in us. Just be this person.
Who picked her?
HBO.
It wasn't a democratic process in the black community.
It was a democratic process.
She didn't come up organically through.
She didn't come up organically.
You know who did? Monique. You know who did? I want to say Wanda Sykes. Like, there are a few black people,
but the thing is, like, listen. These people live like Issa Rae has lived in like this aspirational bubble. I mean, and you can sense it. Have you ever watched the interview? You can sense like she has come up in this aspirational bubble. And this is kind of what she has aspired to have this HBO show. So we have this show, we have her. That's what we have, amongst other things. Now, let me tell you what's worse. Like, I haven't even gotten to the worst part of what she said. She said these people are going to die off. These old white racist execs are going to die off. So life is good. That is devoid of politics. What she's basically telling you to do, because she don't know what she's talking about, what she's basically telling you to do is not get involved with black politics, but just wait for people to die off and everything's going to be better. First of all, it's a cowardly thing to say, because it has no call to action. It doesn't require anything of her, and it doesn't require anything of the African American community, and it doesn't require anything of white people. Just waiting for rich, racist people to die off. And it's ignorant. It's stupid.
King has a lot to say about this.
It's neutral. It makes black people, one of the biggest problems that we've had so far is that as black people now, we're apolitical. We don't give a damn. We don't care no more. We just either we want to go and be rich and file some paperwork and wish for the best, or we going to, like Issa Rae said, we're going to wait for the racists to die off. And so I ain't got to do nothing because they're going to die anyway. It's stupid and it's ignorant. And if you want a solution, one of the solutions is stop following ignorant people. No, you know, what if Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, everybody said, well, we just got to wait for them to die off. Yeah. And so that is the danger. People listen to Issa Rae and she don't know what she's talking about. Because she can't know what she's talking about. She's not grounded in our experience. So how can I expect her to know what she's talking about? I don't, and you shouldn't either. And you should never have elevated her to a point where she's having this conversation with us. You should never have put her there. And I can't say we, because I didn't.
I was about to say we didn't elevate her.
We didn't elevate her. There is no call to action from this person. She's just telling us to sit and wait, and it's safe. Just like Oprah tells us to dream and do a vision board, it's safe. Just like Steve Harvey says, well, jump out and get on your parachute and have faith, and it's gonna be all right. This is garbage. And these are people telling you to be a coward. Don't get involved in politics. Don't do anything. You just gotta wait for the rich white people to die. The rich white people gave you a show though, Issa. But I gotta wait for them to die.
They're gonna outlive all of us.
Outlive all of us. Good health care. Everything. Like this, but it's just, and so what I'm saying is that there is a consequence to listening to somebody like Issa Rae. There is a consequence to elevating her. This is not just art. This is not just, her experience. And why in the world would you let her elevate her experience over our experience? We've been here 400 years, all of us. Not just one parent, all of us. And if she would ground herself in that, she wouldn't be so goddamn awkward. But I digress. The same thing. Well, where's Yvette going with this? What's Yvette trying to say? I'm going to talk about your Indian American senator from California, Miss Kamala Harris. We're at the same point with her that we are with Issa Rae. Somebody not grounded in our experience.
This one?
Not terribly. And then there's another one too. You can put it back to that one. I don't know if I numbered that one. The second one, I don't know if I numbered it, but it's the most important.
Okay.
But it's an aunt too. Listen. Kamala Harris is the same thing. We go from Issa Rae to Kamala Harris. And we just came from Barack Obama. Why are you let me just say this.
I'll put this picture up of Kamala Harris's aunt.
This is not yet. We're gonna roll that one in a second. We're gonna roll that one in.
You gotta work the audience a little bit.
We're gonna roll that one in. Let me tell you something. I want to give you a quote. I'm reading the article. If you want to see this article, it's on Rediff News. The name of the article is "My Niece, the U.S. Senator." Now, this is one of Kamala Harris's aunts. Irene's about to put the picture up. But here, I want you to listen. I want you to listen to what she says about Kamala. She says, whatever Kamala is today, it is because of my sister. Whatever Kamala is today, it is because of my sister. Now, mind you, Kamala had a Jamaican daddy. She had a black daddy. But this woman says, whatever Kamala is, it's because of my sister. This is the erasure of black men. First of all, remember the same thing happened with Obama. They erased his Kenyan father out and said, well, he never saw him. He was a deadbeat dad. Everything on Obama was because of his white mother. So everything Kamala is because of her Indian mother. That's fine. I believe it. The question is, why do African Americans want to own it? You don't own Kamala, just like you didn't own Obama. Obama was grounded in white people. If you look at Obama's resume, he had a bunch of gaps on top of gaps on top of gaps. How do you think that happened? He was living off the money his white grandmother gave him, like $500,000 or whatever it was. I gave it on one show of inheritance. I ain't never known a black person get that kind of inheritance because he ain't black. He was able to maneuver around and date everybody he wanted to date. Okay, he was grounded in whiteness, and that's why we got the presidency we had. I agree with Kamala Harris's aunt when she says Kamala Harris is what she is because of her mother, who was Indian. She didn't say anything about the Jamaican father. And let me just say this, black people, her Jamaican father, Obama's Kenyan father, none of these fathers are African American. Stop claiming stuff that ain't yours.
Well, one went to Harvard and the other one was a professor at Stanford. That's just like us, right? That's just like us, right?
That's just like us. These people are not like us. And Ivy brings up a great point because they're not like us in class or heritage. You got to start looking at history. History is heritage. Class is class. Kamala Harris's mama was a cancer researcher. Now, mind you, she's passed away. She came to America from India. Do you understand what kind of class? It's not even a class in India. It's a caste system. Do you know what kind of, something like epidemiology or something, she came here to study. Do you know what kind of class you have to come from in India to be able to come here and study that? She's upper class. She's not us.
She's upper class used to stepping on lower class.
Used to stepping on. And that's what they do. This is who we are. We are the people that get stepped on. We are the people that they use. I can come here And then Kamala gonna go to Howard University and become an AKA, and black people have crazy African Americans. That's all they need to be like, oh, she's one of us. And you gotta stop understanding Kamala through our experience. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Listen, we look at her and say, well, she's black like us. She has a black parent. That's the lens through which African Americans understand race. You know why? Because we had the one drop rule. We had that in this country. We didn't have what Haiti had in terms of mulattoes was doing this and dark skin black. No, we didn't have that. We had one drop and use a NI, you know what? That's what it was. And so we look at everybody else through that. But that ain't the way it work in other places. That's not how it goes. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you all something I don't always do or rarely do. I'm going to give you a personal example. I'm going to give you a personal example. I was at the airport. I was flying Southwest. Now listen, you know that, and if I told this story before, I apologize. But you know, in Southwest they have these ABC groups, right? Southwest got the ABC groups, okay?
Peanuts.
Yeah, and peanuts, okay? And they give you a nice, a nice little peanuts, a nice little cranberry juice. But I'm in this line, and I'm in the B line. Now, mind you, I'm like B50 or something. I'm like C1 actually, and I'm like at the end of B50 line, whatever. I don't see a need to get in. I don't see a need to I didn't see anybody in the C line at first. So I just got behind the B's. Well, then the C's started coming up. It was like 3 or 4 people in the C line. So I'm like, whatever. It's only going to be like, why would I get in the back of 3 people? It don't make no sense. We all probably going to have to check our luggage. So I get there. I get to the front. And there's an African guy. I don't know where the young man is from. But he looks at my ticket and tells me to get behind the 3 people in the C line. So wait a minute, I got to get out of here and just get behind 3 people so I can see you again 2 minutes later. And I get up to him after I get in the back of the line. I get back up to him and he asked for my ticket and I threw it. Give a damn. And I asked myself afterward, why did I get so angry? Why was I so upset? Because I don't like to get upset. So I asked myself, why did I get upset? And I realized what it was. I realized an African American would not have done that. I don't think we realize as African Americans the kind of small things we do for each other every day. Nah, brother, don't even worry about it. Nah, sister, go on. That kind of stuff we do for each, it's not a lot, but it's the stuff that makes life easier because we've all been here, dealing with white supremacy, having family that dealt with white supremacy. So we do little stuff to make stuff easier for our lives, just as African Americans. But you have people come here from other African countries, other immigrant countries, and they don't see white people. They don't have any problem being mean to other black people because that's what they do. That's what happens in their life.
That's how they got here.
That's how they got here. Is stepping on other people. I don't want to be around people that don't understand that as black people we have a collective obligation to one another to be good to each other. I don't want to be around you. You can't come here. We got enough problems than dealing with you. I got enough frustrations that you can't just tear out the ticket and give it to me and go on. But you want me to go behind the white people. Listen, I don't need you. You don't have the sense of who you need to be in my space. Okay? And you are used to that. Wherever you came from, like if you come from a place where everything that what matters, if you come from a black country, an African country, and the only thing that matters is class, you don't know how to deal with other African Americans because that's not how we are. And you have no interest in dealing with us on that level. I'm sure you saw me and knew I wasn't white, even though I'm light skinned. I'm sure you saw me and saw my hair. You just don't care. I don't need to be around people who don't care. I need to be around African Americans like myself who understand we have an obligation to each other. If you're going to come here and treat me just like white people, I don't need you here. And so I think what we've done, and I think Kamala is the best example. I think what we've done is understand blackness in the same way that we understand African Americanness, and it's not the same. We had a one drop rule here. We had very light skinned people who were going into Klan meetings and reporting back to the NAACP. That's what we had here. In other countries, they had light skinned people who were going and doing stuff that was very detrimental to the black people as a whole. They had whole groups of mulattoes who were doing a whole lot of stuff. So what I'm saying to you is that you can't look at Kamala and understand her through the lens of she's brown. Or you can't understand her through the lens of, well, She got hair. She got, hair look like my weave. Okay? And her name is Kamala. Ain't Kamala a black name? No. No. We are not understanding stuff through history. We have to understand history. Understand our group and each other through our historical narrative, not through the narrative of just blackness, not through the narrative of just skin color. Oh, she listens to this kind of music. Oh, she went to this school. That's not how I understand you. And so, put up that next thing, Iron Man. I think there's a picture. I want to juxtapose.
I got that one. I haven't put it up yet.
Which one is this? Who is this?
That's Chelsea Clinton.
Oh, not yet. Put up the picture. There's a picture of what's her name? Lord child. What's her Maxine Waters. I want to juxtapose this with Maxine Waters and Kamala Harris. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just gonna put it up for me. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all how differently y'all judge people. Now y'all have a lot to say about a lot of people and their marriages and stuff like this, but y'all don't have nothing to say about Kamala. Kamala don't have no African American parent. And I'm looking at Maxine. Well, I'm looking at what they say, Auntie Maxine. Auntie Maxine. And I want to juxtapose these two people, not in terms of just the interracial marriage. I don't have no issue with that because Barack Obama was married to a black woman and that didn't work out too well for us. What I'm talking about though is you're married to like this white banker. He ain't this is not somebody who's anchored in any kind of community. This is what you were married to, and your mother's Indian, and your father is Jamaican. And your aunt say that everything you are is your mother. So you're anchored in being an Indian. That's fine. Just run as an Indian candidate. Don't run as an African American candidate or a black candidate. Don't try to use us for votes. I'm fine with all of that. That's fine. Just run as who you are. I'm done with being used. We got used by Obama. And I brought up Maxine Waters for a specific reason. If you all remember, this is the difference between a Maxine Waters and the Kamala Harris. If y'all remember, Maxine Waters was out there. Now I got my problems with Maxine. Y'all know I had a problem. She goes too far with the whole Russia thing for me. You all know I talked about that early on. But let's be honest about who Maxine has been. Okay? Let's be honest about what she represents. Maxine Waters was calling out the CIA for flooding crack into Los Angeles. Yeah. That's what Maxine Waters did. Yeah. You want to talk about apartheid? Maxine Waters was instrumental in getting our government to go the other way on apartheid. That's who Maxine Waters is. That's what Maxine Waters does. Maxine Waters told the Tea Party to go to hell. That's who Maxine Waters is. That's what Maxine Waters does. She's the one who was investigated by the ethics committee of the House, and they didn't find anything, but it went on for years. It went on for well over a year, investigating her because she brought her husband and his people up to meet and talk about minorities and minority banks and stuff like that. She got investigated for that. That's who Maxine is. That's what Maxine does. Now I want you to juxtapose that against Kamala Harris. Now what I'm trying to tell you, see, you all like to break stuff down into some of y'all little stupid stuff. I'm trying to tell you, regardless of who is doing what and who's married where, what I'm trying to tell you is that it matters that somebody comes up from the community. That matters. If you go to Maxine's district right now, she got community centers and stuff. She wasn't no prosecutor like Kamala. She wasn't trying to put people in jail. She was trying to get black people free and have access to opportunity. That's who Maxine is. Maxine spends a lot of time calling other members of the Congressional Black Caucus out. That's who Maxine is. Let me read you a quote. There was a great article, if you find it, it's a Huffington Post Black Caucus, Maxine Waters or something like that. And you can put it up there with that if you want to. There's a great article called How the Congressional Black Caucus Went to War with Itself Over Wall Street. It's a Huffington Post article, How the Congressional Black Caucus Went to War with Itself Over Wall Street. Now, it's very interesting because a lot of the CBC, we know a lot of them are worthless. Totally worthless. and they were doing the bidding of Wall Street. And so there was something very interesting in this article. And it said, and I'm just going to read this paragraph to you. It's talking about Maxine Waters and her role. And it says, Waters, who refused to participate in this story, makes for an unlikely hero. Even her moments of righteous indignation come infused with certain cynicism. To give one example, in 2011, she had an epic argument with Alcee Hastings at a CBC lunch, blasting him for sponsoring a measure that was seen as a gift to shady for-profit colleges. What was more embarrassing than selling out, Waters told her assembled colleagues, was selling out cheap to nickel and dime scammers like the for-profit industry. If you're going to sell your soul, she admonished, have some self-respect and sell high. Hastings didn't dispute the conflict, but he did dispute Waters' point. It would be a mistaken premise, he said, smiling. There are a hell of a lot of for-profit schools. Listen, ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody goddamn perfect. But Maxine is out there trying to do some shit. I ain't seen Kamala do nothing. Do we have a clip? All right.
Of Maxine do what?
Yes, doing reclaiming her
doing
time.
her thing. Yeah.
Let's play this clip, people. If y'all haven't seen this clip of Maxine reclaiming her time, then you need to see this clip of Maxine reclaiming her time, because the whole thing pisses me off. I'm pissed off about the whole thing, Kamala, Issa, all of it, and you're gonna see why I am when you see this clip. And when I tell you what I need to tell you about this clip, you're gonna understand. You're gonna understand what this means.
Actually, no. I need to switch it over. It's gonna be 3 minutes.
Okay, I remember doing some stuff. But listen. This. Why are we claiming Kamala? African Americans, why are we claiming Kamala? Is it just because she's an AKA? Is it just because she went? I mean, I'm serious as a heart attack right now. Why are we claiming her? She is not ours. We don't own her. Like, when am I going to see a regular black person run for president? I mean, first it was Obama with a white mama and Kenyan daddy. Okay, people like, oh, it's exotic, and we know. Then you got an Indian mama and a Jamaican daddy. Can I get an African American? But I'm racist though, right? I'm xenophobic. I'm anti-immigrant for saying let me get an African American. Like, can I have anybody? Can I have anybody that comes from slaves to represent people that come from slaves? Oh, but if you do that, you're racist. If you do that, you're xenophobic. Listen, I don't have any problem with Kamala or Obama running for office. Just don't claim me. Just don't do what Obama did and get up on the Selma Bridge and say this bridge is as much mine as anybody else's. Why didn't nobody knock him off? No, you can't claim this bridge. Says who? You have a mother who's white American and a father who's Kenyan. What claim do you have to this bridge? Nobody asked that question. Nobody. So you ready, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay. I want put it all the way big when you get to put it big. I want y'all to see Auntie Maxine do this thing right here.
All right, set it up though.
This is beautiful. Y'all remember the Treasury Secretary is Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin did something. There was a hearing, and he did not respond to a letter that Congresswoman Maxine had sent, and she was serious. And this is how it went down.
I was going to answer that.
Just please go straight to the answer.
Mr. Chairman, I thought when you read the rules, you acknowledged that I shouldn't be interrupted and that I would have
reclaiming my time. What he failed to tell you was when you're on my time, I can reclaim it. He left that out, so I'm reclaiming my time. Please, will you respond to the question of why I did not get a response, me and my colleagues, to the May 23rd letter?
Well, I was going to tell you my response.
Just tell me.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say that the Department of Treasury has cooperated extensively with the Senate Intel Committee, with the House Intel Committee, with the Senate Judiciary
Reclaiming my time.
Okay.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr. Secretary, the time belongs to the gentlelady from California.
Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, I don't understand the rules because I
Reclaiming
thought I
my
was allowed to
time.
answer questions.
Reclaiming my time. Would you please explain the rules and do not take that away from my time?
We will give the gentle lady adequate time. So what I read, Mr. Secretary, were statements of the ranking member and Democratic colleagues on how administration witnesses should be treated, not necessarily the way they will be treated. So the time belongs to the gentle lady from California, but I assure you majority members will allow you to answer the question when it is our time.
Okay, so what I was saying is that we have provided substantial information. We believe there's significant overlap. And matter of fact, I would say that we spoke to your Chief Oversight Council yesterday. We have been responsive, and we are trying to coordinate with you the response, and we've suggested that you get the information through the other committees. But I would like to emphasize we believe we've been very
Reclaiming
responsive.
my time.
And will continue to do so.
Thank you very much. You left a message yesterday, or someone on staff left a message.
No, we didn't leave a message.
Reclaiming
We
my
spoke to the
time,
Chief
reclaiming my
Oversight
time,
Council.
reclaiming my time. You did not respond. You left a message. Let us keep going.
I was going to.
Black people, my African American descendants of slaves, that's what you call reclaiming your time. I ain't gotta sit here and listen to you bullshit me because you got $1 million. I don't have to do that. You don't get to come here and waste my time because of who you are. And that's who Maxine is that gets to tell him that. If you don't understand that, or if you want to be in his pocket, you can't tell him that. Listen, one of the things I want to say, when I look at that, Maxine is going head to head. This man's a multi-millionaire outside of being the Treasury Secretary. But I want you to understand that the person Maxine is fighting would not be there were it not for, wait for it, Kamala Harris. If she had chose to prosecute the bank that he headed up, the bank that backdated, according to Kamala Harris's own office, there was a leaked memo that showed that she backdated, that Mnuchin's bank, One West, backdated mortgages and everything. All kind of improprieties. Kamala's office wanted to prosecute. They wanted to prosecute They wanted to prosecute Mnuchin's bank. And she, for whatever reason,
she wanted to get elected.
And she got donations from Mr. Mnuchin as well. Kamala Harris made Mnuchin possible, and then we got Auntie Maxine over there taking on Mnuchin. Who do you want? Do you want somebody like Auntie Maxine who came up through the community, or do you want Kamala Harris who hopped her happy self over here and said, I'm here, I don't have to go through 4 years of what y'all went through, I'm here and this is what it is now, and I want to be president. We never had an African American president. I'm still waiting on one. Don't go around talking about we haven't had one. I'm still waiting.
We had a first lady though.
Yeah, we had African American first lady.
Yes.
She wasn't nothing, but we had her.
But
you gotta claim him, just like you gotta claim Clarence Thomas. He ain't nothing, but you gotta claim him. He's authentically African American. You can't lie about that. You can't lie about it. He knows all about the MEAC and the HBCUs. He just don't care what happened to you.
I gotta admit, we did what we did for the Maxine Waters bit. A guy put up a gospel mix of that clip. Can I play a few minutes of it? A few seconds of it. It's great.
I'm gonna give y'all some fun.
All right. So this is what we do when Maxine Waters does what she does.
I see.
About the things I've done, but I'm reclaiming my time. Yeah, you want to speak on the battles I've won, but I'm reclaiming my time. All right. That's not why I brought you here to share it. I'm reclaiming my time. Yeah, don't read my resume because I was there. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time. Yes, I am. My time. Every minute. My time. Every second. My time. Stop talking. My time. Do you know the rules? My time. When it's my time. My time. I can take it back. My time. Oh.
Reclaiming your time. That ought to be what we do, claiming our time all the time. We're reclaiming our time, waste my time. That's what white people do. We had a whole conversation with Iron Man the other week about being at a job where they just waste black people time. You're not gonna waste my time. I don't care what you got. I don't care how much money you have. But you have to be Maxine. You have to come from what Maxine came from to understand what that means. To know even that Mnuchin is wasting your time. He's just trying to. Oh, I respect what you done. You a lie. You don't respect nothing Maxine done, from the community centers to the money she brings back to her. You don't respect none of that. You just wasting her time. But you have to be Maxine to see. People talked about what Kamala did in terms of, oh, she made Sessions nervous. All this. It wasn't nothing like what Maxine did. It just really wasn't. And it was a spectacle that was used to just kind of take attention away from the fact that she really don't have no policy positions worth anything. And I mean, I think that's something that we need to understand. I mean, it was Maxine who didn't stand with the remember the CBC group who kind of went against Bernie Sanders or whatever. Maxine was like, nah, I ain't with that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not finna do this. These millennials and everybody else deserve more than what they trying to give. Okay, but you have to come up. You have to come up through the black community in America, the African American community, to kind of understand that. You have to put in time with the African American community to understand that. And you don't do that just by going to a HBCU. I'm sorry.
She skipped over Jim Crow.
We went to the same school.
She skipped over Jim Crow.
She skipped over Jim Crow. She skipped over Jim Crow and she want to be your president. Obama skipped over Jim Crow. He want to be, and he was your president.
Got that affirmative action,
and their parents were outside of Jim Crow. You have to understand, Barack Obama's mama was white, outside of Jim Crow. His father, Kenyan, outside of Jim Crow in this country. Same thing for Kamala. Her mama, Indian, outside of Jim Crow. Her father, Jamaican, in Jamaica, outside of Jim Crow. He's an economist. These people are outside of the stuff that has built us, like the blocks that have built us. That is what they are outside of. This is a problem. It's a problem that you come here and you get to be president or senator immediately. African Americans don't get to do that or move to that level. You might get to be congressperson, but you stay stuck because they cannot sell you to white people. And that's the whole game. That's the whole game. The whole game is selling you to fundraisers. Kamala went and met with those people. And where did she meet with the people? Where do rich people go?
The Hamptons.
The Hamptons. That's what she went and met with them and came back with a whole platform all of a sudden. She was even stealing stuff from God. What's the? I'm forgetting everything. She was even stealing stuff from Nina Turner, talking about standing up to power. Honey, you are power, and we know you're not gonna do nothing. So, what I want to say, and I'm just gonna break it down. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. And you gotta stop calling it anti-immigrant. It's not. I love my immigrant people from everywhere. But just be who you are. Don't try to be us and pretend. Just be who you are. There's wonder in who you are. But we can't do it this way, sweetheart. It's not gonna work this way, sweetheart. And let me tell you something. Kamala Harris, this is how I know she's full of it. She came out. For those who don't know, she came out today with a plan. She's trying to get she's trying to get black women. She's trying to get Hillary Clinton's black women. And her bid for the White House, she's trying to get Hillary Clinton's black women. She's already said she's going to this prosecutor has already said, well, we have to change bail and make bail more fair. That's interesting. That just came to you, huh?
You a prosecutor.
Yeah. But bail got to be fair now. She's soft on crime now, Ari. What's she talking about? She's soft on crime now.
Man, like it was pretty much genocide what happened to the Bay Area. Bay Area used to have black people. Like pretty soon Oakland's not even going to have black people anymore.
Yeah. But let me tell you how I know that Kamala Harris ain't about nothing. Part of her plan. See, let me tell you something, people. One of the things y'all got to understand is that the whole plan is to divide black women and black men. And what I mean by that is this. The whole plan is to make it all about, black women have to listen. Our problem is not that we just make, our problem is that we all black. And we all come from slaves. Don't be trying to divvy us around. That's our main problem. I'm not saying there are not other issues, but our main problem is systemic racism. We live in areas where there's systemic collapse. That's our problem. You trying to take away from that, and you ain't slick. At least not to me. And this is how I know you full of it, Kamala. One of the things you said during your tweet that Chelsea Clinton, do you know Chelsea Clinton retweeted her and said Kamala has a plan. Anytime Chelsea Clinton retweets you, I know you ain't nothing. But this is what she said. Well, we have to have more training.
We have so many degrees. Black women especially have the degrees.
But we need training. Let me tell you, that was a great post. If you all go to Corey Robin's page. It was a good post, but it was something that we're talking about. And it was about the fact that This is bull, and it's been bull for a long time. So this is what he says. Like when he talks about this whole idea of training, and he says, "Do you know how old and ancient and bullshit this idea is?"
Never worked.
And he said, "Here's how the old and ancient and bullshit is." When more than a decade ago, University of Oregon political scientist Gordon Laffer came out with his landmark study, The Job Training Charade, demonstrating how poorly these job training programs had performed over the years. He reached back on the cover of the book to a 1982 bill that essentially promised to do what Schumer is now promising. That's what Schumer says, to get job training to the black people. There's one difference. When the 1982 bill focused on government programs and partnerships, Schumer's bill exclusively focused on awards. It's already, giveaways from employers. Now listen to this. The problem is this. Tax credits to employers to train unskilled workers for jobs that don't exist and don't pay. The problem is the jobs don't exist or they don't pay. Okay? That's just what it is. And that's what they're not telling you. So she's putting forward something that sounds good, but it doesn't change any of what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with stems from the fact that there's poverty still in the system from slavery, and there's wealth. You have to not only redistribute wealth, but you have to change how people get wealth. Why should you get a bunch of money because your money comes from capital gains as opposed to a W-2? It don't make no sense. And job training ain't gonna change that. And another thing Kamala says, well, we should have employers have to report who they pay and how they pay too. Don't change a thing. They're going to do what they want to do.
No, but now that you know that your white compatriot makes more money, you can go as a black woman and talk to your boss and demand.
You're going to lose your job.
You're going to lose your job.
Lose your job.
You're going to lose.
You don't got no leverage. You don't got nobody. Listen, you don't have nobody in your family who knows this person, They got to treat me right. They got to do this for me. You don't have that. And when you don't have that, there are consequences to not having that. And we don't have it because why?
We don't have unions.
We don't have unions, but even as black people, slavery. We don't have that. We don't have that wealth. And which means not having the wealth. We don't have the social capital. We don't have that. Ain't not our fault, but we don't. It just is what it is. What are you talking about, Kamala, with your crazy self? But I know what you're talking about. So I mean, we gotta get. And then she said,
you can't just take on your boss, young black woman to like 80-year-old white boss and just say, I demand to be treated equally.
And then when he say no, what you gonna do? Like there has to be something that happens after. There has to be something that happens after that. After when he says no, you gotta have somebody to go to.
No. What's gonna happen after that? You're gonna get an email saying, well, I don't know if you're. It's
not working out.
Yeah, you're not a good fit for this company.
It's not working out.
You don't have the soft skills.
We got right to work. We got a lot of right to get. I call them right to get fired states. We got a lot of right to get fired states. You can walk by your boss and pass gas. He can fire you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Well, that's just bad workplace etiquette. But that's just uncontrolled flatulence. Listen, it's too much. It's too much. I think you would be happier somewhere else. And ain't nothing you can do. Those laws are passed in so many places. So I don't even know what we're thinking. I don't even know what we're thinking in terms of like we might back Kamala. Why? Because her name is Kamala? That sounds like somebody you went to college with, somebody you went to undergrad with, somebody you pledged with. It was. Kamala pledged, AKA. And you got to start thinking about how early these people start thinking about this kind of stuff because we don't do it. We start figuring out what we're going to do later. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I just disagree. I'll do this. Maybe I'll do this. They start planning early. We didn't have no mama who was a breast cancer researcher and a daddy who was at Stanford and who was an economist. We don't know.
No, before she went to Howard, she had this mapped out. Like
she had this mapped out.
She had this mapped out. But they all do. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton.
Yeah, Barack Obama changed his whole life. I'm done with all white women. I'm going to date Michelle. The only black woman I have not seen one black woman come out and say that she dated Barack Obama. Ever. Except Michelle. Not one. Don't you think if he dated one, she would come out and be like, yeah, we dated. He was cute. Can somebody tell me if they seen it? I ain't never seen it. He did this for politics and we failed for a year. He got a sister. How'd that work out? That's black love, right? You got to be more complicated. I I would vote for a white person who said, listen, I'm on point with your agenda. I am with your agenda. Before I vote for somebody who whatever. Anyway, remember, and Kamala, one last thing before I go to the phones. You know, Kamala said this whole thing. That's how you know she's full of it too. She had this quote, well, we're not going to be purists. We're not purists. It's the time out, and it's up there. It's over there somewhere. We're not purists anymore. You know, we have to do. This is the center stuff. This is the stuff that's gonna get us screwed. This whole idea that we can't be purists, or we can't, and it's not purist to have a set of ideology, a set of demands, a set of values. The problem, Kamala, is you don't have no values. None that we share.
And what we're telling people to be purists. If your politician doesn't have a plan to get money into black people's politics, black people's pockets, we're telling you officially, tell them to go home.
Yeah, what you here for?
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite question. What you here for? I don't know what you here for. I just don't know what you here for.
If that's too pure for whoever you're talking to, then we don't have any need for them.
Yeah. Y'all, Kamala don't want me to start talking about. You don't want me to start talking about. You talk about opportunity. I can start talking about your alleged relationship with Willie Brown. You know, that's another thing.
There are pictures. Come on, there's art.
Oh yes, there's art. Let me tell you, all these women from Hillary Clinton to Kamala Harris came up through these men and want to say they feminists. That's not definition of feminism to come up through. Hillary Clinton came up through her husband, and you came up through Willie Brown. Over or under,
and
honey,
I
don't know.
He was married.
Ooh, he was married?
I think he was.
Was she another woman? Was she? Or she the little young side piece? Honey, ain't nothing admirable or anything about your integrity or what you allegedly did. I don't have no problem with people doing what they do. But don't be like you're a feminist. If you're a feminist, you don't come up through. You come up. I am woman. Hear me roar. Come up like that then. Don't come up like that and then tell me, young girls, you can do it too. Do you want to do it how you do it? How you want them to do it? That's all I want to know. So I think we about to go to the phones. So I want to hear what y'all got to say and chime in. Everybody didn't work my nerves. So
let me get some people on the phone then.
People crazy. Kamala, we love Kamala. Y'all better leave these people alone. Why?
Hi, Iron Man. Hi, Yvette. This is Dawn from Atlanta. How are y'all?
Pretty good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, I wanted to call. I was watching Book TV, and Jason Riley, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with him, he wrote a book called False Black Power. This is literally this weekend. Okay. And he was talking about it, and it's really interesting because it actually kind of talks to what you're literally talking about with Maxine Waters and with Kamala Harris. But he talks about black politics, and he talks about the fact that black politics have not narrowed the gap. Now, and he talks about, even in Atlanta, about how set-asides lift small groups and not the poor, and how everything is widened under Obama. He actually said he's a black guy, by the way, if you don't know who he is. Okay. And that basically Obama was a failure.
Yeah.
And so now one of the things is, go ahead. Yeah. So and I agree with all of that when it comes to racial equality. He did fail in that area. So all measures widened. He was talking about basically the black underclass has lost ground. So everything you're saying, it was on Book TV and they were reviewing his book and he was talking about it, about just all the rates have just doubled in increased. One of the interesting things, his idea though was that the politics have not been right. His thought was that in the 50s and 60s, on the front end, we were looking at more capital. We were gaining on whites in the 50s and 60s before all of the integration and all those different things. And that at this point, like in the 80s, when we had a lot of black politicians that came into power, I think he was saying like Mississippi had the most black politicians, but we're not moving forward because the black politics are wrong. And black politics for us have not actually helped us increase. And anything has actually had us go backwards. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I wanted to say, and I want you to kind of just comment. I know you weren't there, but his thought is that we shouldn't do black politics. I actually disagree. I thought that what he said was on point, but I think the black politics and the agenda has not been right because people, like you said, there are not enough Maxine Waters. We have too many Kamala Harrises and A.C. Hastings and people, and I'm from Florida, that literally have sold us out. Yeah. So I just think black politics, there's nothing wrong with it. I just think that we've got it wrong and we've got to demand more and hold people accountable. And so, like you said, they're our sorority, fraternity, they're our friends, and we don't feel comfortable coming at them. But anyway, I thought it was kind of really interesting, and it was interesting to see that on Saturday, watching it. Like, oh my God, it's Yvette and Iron me. He's saying the exact same thing around black politics. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. And if you'll just comment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think a few things happen. I think we lost the media. And if you don't have a media, how can you organize and how can you educate? So we don't have a media. That's the first thing that happened. So we don't have an educated people. We don't have an educated group of people about politics so that they know how to hold their politicians accountable. It's like the Fred Hampton clip I played where he said education is everything. You know, you can have something like he pointed out that, you know, he pointed out certain instances where somebody can still be, you know, for black people, but still be a despot, right? So I think that's one of the things that happened, and we lost the media. I think another thing that happened is like what we talk about is that we got the people in place, but we don't hold them accountable. We don't know how to hold them accountable. And we almost like we're stuck in a phase where we're so happy to have black people in office still. And my whole thing is when we're going to grow out of that. Because if I can find somebody white who will adhere to my agenda, I don't have to have a black person. Like, if I can find a white boy or a white girl who says, I'm going to work on this and I'm going to do this for you, and they make progress towards that, I don't need you as just a black face. Because there was a good article, too, in the Atlantic a while back. I think I shared it on one show, which shows that, like, black power has not correlated with black politics. But there's a specific reason for that. Doesn't mean we don't need black politics. To me, it means we've just been doing black politics all wrong. So, thanks, Carl. I appreciate it.
No problem.
What's up, Yvette?
How you doing?
Hey, I want to tell you an irony. I'm 64. I had my 64th birthday Saturday. I want to tell y'all I really love your work. I'm glad I'm seeing some young people that are spot on here. I want to touch on Kamala right quick because I started out about 6 months ago talking about how her argument when the Department of Justice was pushing California to empty overcrowded prisons, her argument was, we'd like to do that, but if we do it, our state is in a drought, and that will eliminate all the experienced firefighters we have, which were prisoners making about $1.75 an hour fighting fires. So that tells you what Kamala is all about. But I want to tell you something else, too. I've been thinking about since I've been watching you so much, and I crowd you and Jeremy all the time with a bunch of articles that I think are relative. Another thing that you can do with your Breaking Brown family is I think we can actually come up with some Facebook pages where Jeremy, because he puts out such good posts on so many different things, I think we should start putting out a tweet a day that we can crowd these people like Kamala so that they get viral tweets that expose them. In other words, if they get 10 or 1,500 tweets on a Monday morning, it's going to overload their Twitter, and whatever the subject is or problem we have with them will go viral. You don't have to worry about whether or not people know what's going on. Viral tweets will kill them. I think the best way to do that is let's get some Breaking Brown families, open up our own Facebook pages, and I'm telling you, with the way that Jeremy cranks down and gets to the essence of things, we can turn them all out. If you're not giving us black politics, we'll expose you on Twitter. Forget black Twitter, we'll just blow Twitter up. I love your work.
Thank you.
Keep on hitting, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Jeremy. Get down to the crux of it, Jeremy. Oh, say Frank Palm. No, I agree though. If you don't know what he was talking about Kamala Harris's office, basically saying like we need these prisoners to fight fires. So we can't do this early release thing y'all talking about. They got to get off in these forests and fight fires and put their lives at risk for a little bit of money. So if you don't know, that's what the last caller was talking about. And then when it was exposed, Kamala was like, "I'm disturbed by what my office did. I don't know. I don't understand. Like what could that be?" So I think that's something we can think about, Carl, in terms of like having a day where we gonna get you. We have to have a planned Twitter attack or a planned Twitter thing. And I think that's something that's a good idea, Carl. I appreciate it. Let me write that down. Planned Twitter.
Hello?
Yes.
How you doing?
Oh, snap. I can't believe I got on the air. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Pretty good.
Well, my name is Brandon. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Appreciate you taking the call. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Sorry if I'm just now coming in late, so I'm sorry if you already covered this, but I know a lot of black people are going around saying that we need to move our money, and you necessarily don't agree with that, saying that no LLC is going to save us as a people. And I agree with you there. We need the black politics, but if we're going to put together black politics, don't we need money to do that, to really make a change? No. And if that's the case, shouldn't that money come from us? So I'm saying that, like, don't we need both? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I may misunderstand you. It just kind of seems like every time someone brings up putting our money together, you're not a fan of that. So I agree with the black politics, but don't we need money to do that as well?
Here's the thing. I think we need a lot less money than you think. When you look at how Chokwe Lumumba got elected, the senior, not the junior who just got elected, I can't remember what the exact number was, but I think it was like 60,000 compared to his opponent who got a whole lot more than that. $60,000 isn't a lot of money to get elected mayor of a city. And I think what drove him over the top was organizing. So this idea that you don't have any power unless you have money, I think is a fallacy. And I think it's something we've been led to believe, so we'll just sit around and be like, well, we can't do what they do. We ain't got no money. Yes, if we organize our people, we can. What we do have is votes. What we do have is people. So I don't believe that you necessarily need a lot of money, especially in local politics. I'm not talking about getting elected. I'm not talking about getting elected congressperson right now. I'm talking about getting elected senator. I'm talking about getting elected in your local election, something that we don't like to get involved in. The second thing I say is this. So the second thing I say is this. You can't pool your money. I'm not saying that you can't pool your money. But if you think that's going to be a key to economic uplift for your community, then I think you're mistaken. I'm not saying that you can't do whatever you want to do in terms of whatever friends or whatever networks or whatever, but you can do that. But if you think that's going to change how the wealth position of the black community, I would just say you're mistaken and it's not a vehicle for that. That's my position. Appreciate you, caller.
That makes sense.
Thank you. Yep.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just love your show.
Thank you.
And I agree with everything you're saying. However, I have I was listening to the last caller.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, my name is Gigi. I'm calling from California.
Okay.
But I was listening to the last caller, and our black politicians, he was talking about pulling up our money together and apparently letting them handle it or whatever. We don't have any black leaders, okay? They are all for themselves, okay? They thieves, and they're not for black people. They're for all foreigners. They're for Hispanics and Muslims. And I wish black people would wake up to these fake black politicians that we have. Our black caucus is under investigation. They taking money that's supposed to be given to the black kids to go to college, but no, they out on expensive resorts.
I read that article.
Expensive cars. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I remember reading that article. Yeah.
Yeah, so we really don't have any. We need some younger black politicians, okay? And get rid of all these old politicians. They've been in the game too long.
Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Thank
and
you.
that's because, to me, the Democrats are poverty pimpers, okay? That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
I was just having an argument with somebody the other day about, they were like, well, we have to stand up for everybody's rights, so we have to stand up for trans rights, and these were black activists, and I said part of the problem, part of the problem, you all love to make fun of, me, or you love to make fun of Umar Johnson. Not, you Dr. Umar Johnson, I have a lot of differences with Dr. Umar, but what the problem is, people like to make fun of him, not understanding that part of the reason he's so successful is that black people understand he stands for black people. Black people are tired of having people who represent them who stand for everybody else. What are you doing running around all the time? Especially when the people you run around with don't ever come and run around for you. So when you're doing something, when you have a legislative initiative that you're trying to push, are these people standing with you? Do you have some type of agreement or arrangement? Well, Yvette, it don't work that way. You don't understand activism. Well, it need to work that way. How are you talking about? And like, how, you know, it's almost like activists are like a group of people. It's only like a few groups like this. Like there are charlatans who can like have no successes and like still. And I know there are good activists out there. I've seen them. I've seen them. But some of y'all give activism a bad name and give organizing a bad name. You're just spinning your wheels if you're organizing for everything and everybody. Can't you focus? Do you have ADHD? Like, why can't you focus on... Listen, we are at the bottom. We've been stuck at the bottom. We've been here the longest and we're stuck at the bottom. Our issues need to take priority. I don't understand why that's so hard for people who say they love black people to deal with. Because why? You're afraid that the other groups and they might be mad at you because, you know, we're all humans. And so Trump tweeted this and we all have to rally for this. You just run around chasing your little tail. Stop it. So it is what it is. So thank you, caller. Let's go to the next one.
Hello?
Hey!
Yvette, I'm on?
Yeah, you on. How you doing?
All right. Now, I want to get on this thing about Yvette and that lady, Kamala. And a lot of these other Negroes that claim that they're us. You see, these people, they use our legacy to promote their own political and economic agenda. Okay? Now, you got this other woman, the congresswoman from Texas, Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila Jackson Lee is not Afro-American. She's a Caribbean. She is from Jamaica. Okay? And another one, Yvette Clark from Brooklyn. She's a Caribbean. She's from Jamaica. And you got another one, Mia Love. She's a Haitian. Right? She claimed that but she never claimed that she's Afro-American. But Sheila Jackson Lee did. Okay? Now you got this lady right here,
Queens? Yeah.
Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. She's an East Indian. Okay? She's from East. Everybody use our legacy to promote their own political and economic. They're going to always trick these Negroes with these black foreigners. And they are here. This is why they are in our communities in the first place. Those liberals influx these immigrants into our communities and incentivize them and gives them jobs and allows them to have businesses so they can squeeze us. While at the same time, they make sure they keep the Afro-American male in particular unemployed. Why? So he can get out there and commit crimes for resources. Where is going to end up as a result of doing this? One or two places, jail or in the graveyard. And those are the exact places, those liberals who put these policies in place. That's what they want. That's what they're seeking for the Afro, and only the Afro-American male, and nobody else but him. Nope. Now, I know a lot of black women, they catch hell too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But everybody knows nobody catch more hell than that black Afro-American male.
Thank you,
and
Ryan.
now you got this another guy, this Dominican guy, right? That came to this country illegally. Adriano Espinosa. He's a new congressman of Harlem. Now he is pushing to join the Congressional Black Caucus.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. Can people in the comments stop telling me that Haitians and Jamaicans had slaves? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you that's not America? And can I tell you that slavery was even different in these places? Okay. Can I tell you that? I mean, it nobody is saying. I mean, there have been slaves went a lot of different places. Slaves went a lot of different places. Nobody is saying that African Americans are the only places that had slaves. But what I'm telling you, even if you look at Jamaica, Jamaica's all black now. Right? It's a majority black country. The experience in Jamaica And in terms of, and how they're dealing in terms of, it's more kind of a colonialism versus like what we deal with in terms of being a minority in a mostly white country and the richest country in the world. It's a different experience. Stop just seeing your experience through, well, we all just had slaves. It doesn't mean that they're worse than us. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that we're better than them. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that we're different. Acknowledge those differences and distinctions. It doesn't mean that we can't even ally with them and work with them, but we're different. And you have to accept that. You can't say we all just the same because we had slaves and some little stupid thing. Well, the boats just landed in different places. No, we had totally different experience. We've grown. We've had totally different experiences than other people in other countries where there were slaves. Even people in these other countries. And nobody's even saying we understand all of the Caribbeans in this country who did wonderful things coming up in terms of the Caribbeans in the 1800s, 1900s in this country who did great things. Some of our most cherished people were Caribbeans. Nobody's denying, but that's not what I'm telling you is that times have changed. You're viewing things through the lens of who they were then. We had a period, especially even bring it up some to the period of Malcolm X, where we had a bunch of African nations getting liberated, and we had Afro-Caribbeans, you had black people in this country, you had Caribbeans, you had African Americans, you had Africans from places that were just being freed and from colonialism who had just gotten their freedom. You had all this stuff happening, and so you had a real Pan-Africanist move towards something big. What I'm telling you is that times have changed and timing matters. And in the richest country in the world, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. Times have changed. You don't have that. Most of these people now, and a lot of them are just trying to get what they can get. You don't have this, everybody's going to come over here and be Pan-Africans and be on your team. That's not the way it's working right now. I wish it would. And I think that's what, as African Americans, that's what we need to demand. If you want to talk about our immigrant brothers and sisters, we got to demand that from them. You can't just come here and be the same as white people and tell me what I need to do and expect us to be sisters and brothers. You have to be me. That's not saying anything bad about you or where you come from. And look, what's all this? And stop trying to paint me as a transphobe. When John Lewis did what he did about gun control and used the sit-in, which was a tactic from the civil rights movement for gun control, I protested that too. Stop using our political capital for other groups. It's got nothing against trans people. I wish them the best. I do. And I mean that with all my heart. I don't have anything against trans people. I'm just telling you that I want to use our political capital for African Americans.
At the same time of that gun sit-in, we knew that Flint was being poisoned every day.
Yes.
At the same time.
Some of y'all crazy.
There was no sit-in to get the Army Corps of Engineers into Flint and ripping out those pipes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, some people sound crazy. Well, I mean, and why is it the first thing to do to accuse me? Well, Yvette, your problem is, no, your problem is you don't value yourself. Your problem is you don't value your life. Your problem is you don't value your kids. And nothing I can do about that. I mean, self-hate is a mug. And I can do it. I can't make you put yourself first. That's all I'm asking you to do. And we're drowning. It's almost like you're drowning and you're trying to rescue somebody. Like you're drowning. And I'm telling you, you're drowning. We gotta, me and you both drowning. We gotta get ourselves out of here. And you like, but somebody on the shore needs suntan lotion. And you gotta save yourself first. Like we have to be our own priority. That doesn't mean. It's
kind of like when you fly and they say, make sure you put your
mask on first.
You're not gonna be any good to
Don't
anybody
be like,
else.
Here, let me help you. No, you won't have yours on. We like people don't understand. Like black people in this country, people think I'm exaggerating. But if we don't get this right, like we're on the verge of extinction as far as I'm concerned. Like we can be replaced in every area. Like we can be replaced. Okay, we can be replaced, and we are being replaced. And so what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna go around and just vie for everybody else? You're gonna be like, listen, our lives are serious right now. We're screwed. And if you get the news, there was a great article in there about how white poverty is still not black poverty, no matter what you say.
And they can't take it either.
Yeah, and nobody can take it. It's white poverty and black poverty still not the same.
Yeah.
Because I have people say, well, they're poor too. Yeah, but still not our poverty because we've been in here for a minute.
Yeah. No, I saw an article that said that like when white people even come close to black generational poverty in the community level, they start freaking out way
They
before.
vote Trump. They start voting for Trump. The people are like, well, white people don't understand it. No, yes, they do. They get it. That's why they voted Trump. And I say y'all because I didn't. You voted Hillary, so you don't get it. So they get it. They were like, something got to change because I don't like this. I don't like this life. But we be like, well, I don't know. Hillary said she gonna do it this time. I guess she gonna do it. I don't know. I'm gonna give her a chance. You know, she didn't do it. Her husband put us in jail, but shit, we gonna give her another go. So, you know, best of luck. Somebody said hungry is hungry. Poor white people have if you can look it up, and in the Nation article, that's the Nation 228 years. Look that article up. Poor white people have $10,000 in wealth. The average poor black people are negative. So stop telling me hungry is hungry, and stop telling me there's not social capital and privilege associated with whiteness. You're just making yourself look silly over here in the comments. Don't be stupid. So let's go to the next caller.
Hello?
Hey.
Yes, my name is Dave. I gotta tell you, I love your show. Hated when I first heard it, but you make so much sense, Yvette. I really love your show.
Thank you.
Notwithstanding, I am from outside of the United States. I'm a first-generation American. And I love what you're saying, but I keep on feeling like I don't have a place in what you're sharing. Because I hear you saying that black people from outside of America cannot be a benefit to blacks from America because, you know, we didn't come up through Jim Crow. Like I said, I'm from outside the U.S., first generation, but I've devoted my life and my talents to helping blacks in America and elsewhere.
Where you from?
To get an education, to go as far as they can. Guyana, South America.
Okay.
I went to an Ivy League type school, went through the military, and I retired. I teach high school, and I'm all about helping everybody that's in my school to get ahead, but especially black people. That's why I am where I am. I'm in an inner city school. But I'm not here to play. If I were to listen to what you're saying too much, I would almost stop what I'm doing. Because I even though Jim Crow was terrible and has not been addressed, and you have really brought that to the fore in all the things that you say, there is a place for people that are not from the country to make a contribution.
Who said that wasn't?
I just don't hear enough of that.
No, who said you should? But who said you should hear enough of that? Like who said that you deserve to hear enough of that? Who said that this was about you? Like, listen, I'm not telling you not to help. You sound like you're being a good ally, but that's what you get. This is not the show for me to like give you attention. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you went to an Ivy League school. How many African Americans get to go to an Ivy League school? We go to shitty schools. We go to schools that are underfunded. We go to public schools that are underfunded, and we come from that. Like, to me, it sounds like you're coming here to like get attention, and I don't owe you attention though. Like, listen, I appreciate everything that you're doing. I think you're doing the right thing. I think you're being a good ally. But I don't have to speak to you though, like I have to speak to my people who are dealing with what they're dealing with. So I like I said, you're doing good work. I appreciate what you're doing, and one of the things I talk about here is how to be a good ally. And I talk about being a good ally is not coming here and acting like white people. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. So I don't understand why that's not enough.
All right, I cut him off.
Thanks, caller.
That was a good response. Good. Clear that up. Thank you, but this still isn't about you.
Hey, Yvette.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, not much. I'm loving the show right now, but I just got to speak on something like Issa Rae. Like, I don't know if you watched the newest episode. Have you watched the newest episode yet? The episode 3 that just came out?
What just came out? What just came out?
Issa Rae,
the latest episode of Insecure.
No, I just saw the first episode. I just saw the first one.
Okay, well, all right.
I didn't see episode 2.
To the point. Okay, let me just get to the point. Basically, there's a teacher. They work in a nonprofit trying to help kids, and there's a black principal who makes a racist joke about Mexicans, right? So I see the pivot. She's trying to cape for Latinos, right? And she's trying to use it off the back of, well, black people can be racist to them too, and that's not right. And it's just like, this is just completely like a prime example of what she's talking about. It's just like she paints this caricature of this dude. He says, like, we come from the same place, right? You know, blacks gotta look out for each other. And then she like makes him into an utter douchebag without having him be a full-fledged character, like showing how African Americans are literally feet like below, or starting to be feet below these people in priorities in this country.
Okay.
And then not only that, it's just like
the way that the characters design when it comes to black men, like how do you live in LA, right? And you rent in a one bedroom apartment off of one income from a fledgling nonprofit. And when she lived with homeboy that was her boyfriend, like he was bringing in, he had like checks coming in. He was going to the bank. Like, how do you not bring that up as a plot point? Like, listen, you go to the bank all the time. How come you're not paying for bills? Like, and like they're making an excuse for like infidelity and like to shit on black men. And then, like, I have to say, like, I seen from one last thing I seen from one of my favorite writers, from Very Smart Brothers, Damon Young. Like, he's co-signing that. Like, he's saying, here's the problem with dudes like Lawrence. Like, and like, without even, like completely sidestepping blackness entirely. Like, basically giving her a pass.
Dang.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like, Damon, what?
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. You heard what he said? He said sidestepping blackness.
If you're sidestepping black poverty, if you're sidestepping black generational poverty, then you're sidestepping blackness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sidestepping.
I need to see
what it means to be black in America.
I need to see
not just like
good
your skin color.
Broke people.
Yeah.
Good, interesting, funny, broke people. That's what I think Atlanta does well.
Isn't it? Yeah, Atlanta's a show. And isn't it funny that like she can be weird and all these things, but she gets to do this, like just like kind of shit on people. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that strange? You know, I haven't checked out episode 2, but I gotta check out episode 2, Colin. Then I'll probably get back to you and address it real quick. I gotta check that out. That's interesting. That's unfortunate, but I wouldn't be surprised. Let's take one last call, Aaron.
Yeah, good. I want to see good, interesting, generationally poor.
Yeah, because that's what we are.
At least people who are related to the generationally poor.
Yeah, like it's art supposed to reflect life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fascinating, interesting. Atlanta does this okay, I think. But,
yeah.
At least working class, poor working class.
Yeah, what it means, like what it looks like.
You're on. Hello.
Hey, caller.
What's up?
Hi, Ermi. Hi, Yvette. How are you all tonight? Good. I'm so glad I got in. I just want to reiterate, I've spoken to you all on the air in the past, and I am just so grateful and so appreciative of the knowledge that I'm getting. I'm a new subscriber, so I subscribed about a couple of weeks ago. I'm sharing the videos. I got other people that are interested and they're listening now. So I really appreciate what you all are doing.
Thank you.
So I wanted to, a couple callers ago, he talked about something that you speak on all the time, how we have a lot of the immigrants that are coming in and, they don't identify with us. And so my son, he is in elementary school. He is at a school where the demographic of the student body is 70% black, and the demographic of staff is 0% black. So they have made the case that, well, we just hired 2 Haitian teachers. Like, but listening to Yvette Cornell, now that I have the knowledge, I'm like, it's not the same. Mm-hmm. It is not the same. They don't identify with us. Mm-hmm. Not to say that they shouldn't be teachers at that school, but we also need African American teachers that identify with the African American experiences, because what I'm noticing is that a disproportionate number of African American children, 3rd grade and below, are being suspended. I understand the issues of the school-to-prison pipeline, and there's no one there that's advocating for those children from a staff perspective. So, it's on the parents to do it. And I said that could change if you just hire some African-American teachers that identify with these children. They're not being criminalized for being black.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, Carla. I agree. We go ahead.
We had an issue where, my son's teacher, she texted me one day and she said, apparently some of the name calling that's going on back and forth is called jonesing. Do you know what that is?
I do.
And I had to send her a Wikipedia link to educate her on what joning was, but they mistake it for bullying. There are laws against bullying. Our children are getting railroaded because they are not represented at the staff level.
Yeah. Jonah happened when I was in school. It just, yeah. You're right.
It's unfortunate.
Thank you, Carla. I think. Ivy, what you got something to say about that first, don't you?
Yeah, actually, I've been giving this a lot of thought for the last few months. Okay, so we did integration wrong.
Yeah.
We did integration wrong.
Malcolm Gladwell has a good podcast on that, but go on.
Good. We did it wrong. Like everything, you start with the producers, not the consumers. So we shouldn't have started with students. When we wanted to integrate schools, and you have to integrate schools because if you segregate, I think you have to integrate schools because if you segregate schools, the black schools end up neglected and starved with lead in their water and all that stuff. But we did integration wrong. We should have started with the school boards, then the curriculum, then the administrators, then the teachers, and then the students. Balancing power as you go down. You start with the power, the school boards, then the curriculum, then the administrators, then the teachers, and then you integrate the students.
Well, then, you put because what we did, we put the onus on the weakest ones, the babies. Right. We had the babies go be traumatized. And if you look at, Malcolm Gladwell has a podcast called Revisionist History. If you can, it's free, check it out. He has a great episode about Brown versus Board and how the people who filed, the family who filed, they didn't even have a problem with their black school. Like, it was a good school, but they just felt like the system did not have a right to tell them what school to go to. Now, I agree that school should be integrated, and part of it has to do with social capital. You have to be around people who have, and we don't have any. But that's a whole nother conversation. But what he basically said, the same thing Irmy said, we did it wrong. And I do think you have to have African Americans represented. Part of my problem, I don't have any problem with the caller who called in. I appreciate him, and I appreciate everything he's doing in the school in terms of, being an immigrant in Guyana. He's still representing and looking out for African Americans. I appreciate that. That does not mean, though, that we don't need African American teachers because people who've had this same experience all the way through and parents who've had it, that doesn't mean that what I don't want to happen is to see African Americans be replaced in this country by people who are from other countries who have black faces, who are black, but they're not African American. And so you have to be, if you want to know how to be a good ally, you have to agree with me on that. You can't be like, well, black teachers don't have, and well, maybe. You got to agree with me on that. You got to be like, yeah, you exactly right. You shouldn't be replaced. You've been here 400 years. You worked hard. You should not be replaced. You have to. That's how you be an ally with me. You agree. You got to agree with me on that. You got to want the best interests of African Americans and African American kids. That's what you have to do. And so I'm not telling you that I think you're bad or a bad person. I'm telling you, I'm really trying to teach you how to be an ally. You here, you got to know how to be here, though. And you got to know how to be here for us. That's how to be a good ally. So it's just, it is what it is. But check out that podcast. It's a very good podcast, especially the one about Brown versus the Board. He really goes into how we did integration wrong. Check it out. Revisionist History is what it's called. Malcolm Gladwell. Check that joint out. It's real good.
We can take one more. Or you want to what's up?
We can take one last call.
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Say yes. Man.
Who said? Hey, I'm here.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hey, it's good. I'm glad y'all let me in. Hey, I just want to say, I support Jesse Neville and I believe her name Achille Canyon.
Okay.
And I go to my monthly. I go to the Progressive Democrat meetings, Progressives, and when I go to the meeting, at the last meeting, they didn't bring up Jesse Neville once. In fact, they only brought up Rick Kreisman and the other Rick guy running for mayor of St. Pete because I'm in Tampa.
Okay.
And they only brought them up. They didn't mention Jesse Neville at all, and they had these panelists of people. And at the end, I started talking to some of the panelists. One of them was on the local Congressional Black Caucus. And I asked them about Jesse Neville, and they had no plans to support him at all.
Wow.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
We need to tell people that's a problem.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. That's a problem. And I appreciate you for bringing it up. That's black politics, what you did.
Yeah.
And if go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and there's other black people there too. There's another black guy running for city council.
Yeah.
And I was asking him like, okay, how come you're not supporting Jesse Neville? And he was kind of like hemming and hawing, like, yeah, he's a bit extreme, and his platform is just a bit isolating because he just focuses on reparations.
Yeah, what we need is extreme.
He doesn't take it like
we need extreme, though. How are you black and you don't think you need extreme?
Yeah, if you're black in St. Petersburg or Tampa, you're broke.
Yeah, you need extreme. What you think you need?
Yeah.
So thank you, Carl. I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you did in the context of what happened. That's black politics. What he did is black politics. I appreciate it, because if nobody does it, nobody's gonna pressure these people to do anything. They're gonna go about their business well, and not want to be extreme. And lastly, let me just say, somebody said that I said trans people were not a part of the descendant of slave community. When did I say that? When did I? I will tell you the most consequential thing about you is that you come from slaves. And
even James Baldwin said, like,
and that's why you see so many trans people of color, trans African Americans dying. It's not because we're expendable. Even as a trans person, especially as a trans person, you're expendable.
Yes,
you're African American. That's consequential to your life. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So
all right. So you'll get this. You'll get black politicians pre-compromising for the sake of their white allies. Like, we believe in reparations.
Yeah, for the sake of people.
Why are you pre-compromising for them? You should say, yeah, I believe in Jesse now. Yeah, I believe in reparations. They have a problem with it, so we're going to have to go to war with them.
Yeah.
why
What's the problem?
Why are our politicians, like, negotiating on behalf of the people who don't have the best interests of black communities? Like, this is what got me a problem with Obama. This is why I couldn't stand Obama. He would pre-compromise on our behalf.
Yeah, that's what he did. I'll meet you on your 1 yard line.
And then tell black people, well, I had to meet them on.
Yeah, I had to meet them. That's just how politics is done. So I just want to thank everybody. We got to run. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank everybody for dealing with, we were a little late. I was a little late. I want to thank everybody for that. Please, if you want to support the show, go to donatebrown.com and you can donate one time, or you can go to breakingbrown.com and donate once a month. Or you can also make a one-time donation there. You can also get the $2 a month newsletter. I send out links to articles that I find that I think are important. Take care of that. You can do that at breakingbrown.com as well. You can go to subscribe-to-brown.com that's free, but you can just, in case something's happening or something like that, I like to have my people in one place, because never know what's going to happen. They've been snatching people down off of these social networks, so I like to have everybody in one place. So take care of that if you can. I would appreciate it. And share this with your group. Share this with your friends. Black Politics is what we do every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you all next time. I appreciate it.